Good morning, world. Welcome to the How of Happiness interview series, where I interview women in all walks of life, doing their best to live their lives by design and to create happiness and fulfillment on a daily basis. Now, however you are tuning in today, whether you are in a festive mood or you are just skating by, know this: wherever you are okay. There is an opportunity to start again, to reset, to really step into a 10% happier version of yourself. And that's just around the corner. So listen in today for our interview with Molly. For those of you who do not know me yet, I am Dr. Wendy O'Connor. I'm a positive psychologist and life strategist for women. I coach women on living a life that's by their design, to say goodbye to languishing, to set and achieve the goals that are on your heart that you really want to live your life in line with, and to do so like the real way, not this toxic positivity way. This isn't about just pretending everything's fine and slapping on a smile every day. It's really about choosing how you show up and how you want to feel. And if there's just something even tiny that you can do today that's going to make a difference, I invite you to choose it and to give it a try and to see if it works. And so this experience of trying something new or trying something outside of your comfort zone is literally going to change your brain. It's literally going to change the way you think about the world, the way you feel about your life. And it's an amazing opportunity for you to say, old patterns be gone. I'm tired of feeling stuck. I'm tired of feeling overwhelmed. I'm tired of feeling like my dreams are on the back burner. It's time for me. So I think we have Molly joining us now. Let's see here. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. You look so cute with your red plaid. I almost wore the red plaid shirt.
Oh, we should have coordinated.
Would have been so coordinated.
I love your shirt. It looks just like, it's like happiness in a shirt.
It is. I'm very transparent, but I wore this shirt yesterday. And I texted one of our partners, and I was like, just so you know, I'm going to show up to work. I'm going to be wearing the same thing because I just want to be cozy.
I love that you felt like you needed to warn them just in case.
Yeah. It's not Monday anymore, but I'm going to look like I was yesterday.
Yes. And you're going to wonder if it's Groundhog's Day or if I have more clothes.
Exactly.
Neither of which are true. I just chose to be cozy.
Yeah. And cutting down on laundry. Amazing.
I love it. Molly, tell our audiences, for those out there who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do?
So I am a nurse practitioner. I have lots of sort of facets, but my sort of background is that I've done a lot of lifestyle medicine training. I've done a lot of nutrition work, and just a lot of mind body like connected stuff. And so that's how I like to see my patients, coach women, all of those things I sort of integrate and put into a package.
I love it. And we're grateful for your packages.
Oh,
we're grateful for the work that you do. It takes a lot to serve others. And, for those of us who are working in the service of others and in service-based industries, we do it for the most part. Most of us do it because we just love it, because it's natural for us, because it really makes us feel so good to affect change in others and to see people living healthier, happier lives.
Yes.
And it's a sacrifice. It takes showing up and it takes work. And I'm glad you're here to talk with us today about happiness, because so much of the time, I think a lot of people, and women in particular, think, oh, happiness is just for like those who are, just naturally positive people, or happiness is just for those who have it easier than me, or happiness is for those who just have a different life circumstance than I. And the reality is happiness is attainable for everyone. And we define it a little bit differently depending on who we're talking to, and we live into it differently depending on our lifestyle. So I was just hoping today we could talk a little bit about how you do happiness. And we'll talk about kind of where your primary focus is, like if you have a daily practice that you engage in to create happiness in your life, or even if the way you design a happy life is to set boundaries or to say no to things, we want to hear about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about, what a rough day looks like. Every day is not going to look like sun shining and rainbows and butterflies, and you're not going to be even in a good mood some days when you wake up, and that's completely normal. And I just want to normalize that for everybody.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you do happiness.
Oh gosh, it's like, where do I start? I mean, I've learned a lot, honestly, from you as well. But one thing that really helps me is sort of like having my routines or my structures in place. So I try to, so I have sort of like a core framework though. And so in that framework is like movement, using mindfulness practices throughout the day, meditation practices, and movement. No, macros or
movement, meditation, mindfulness, and
macros or nutrition. So every day I try to get like some form of this in. And honestly, in these past like couple of weeks or months, like when it's been getting colder, it's slowed down. So like in the summer, I like to run a lot. I like to get out. And recently it's been just showing up to my mat for yoga. Or if the workout doesn't happen, this is another big thing for me is like plan A and then plan B. So if plan A is like, I'm going to get up, work out in the morning, but say it doesn't happen because I have 3 small little children and, things just happen, then what is plan B? And plan B for me usually looks like trying to get out at some point during my day for like a walk. And I don't care if it's 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. It's just like, what can I fit in today that would sort of recharge me a little bit?
Yes. So that concept that I often talk about with rigidity with your goal, but flexible with how you get there, right? So it's like you have these 4 components that you just use to anchor you to happiness or fulfillment in your life and just feel like you're living it on purpose. But what it looks like that day could be different. And you're not going to be so rigid that it's all or nothing. You can pivot to.
Yes, and this like took time for me to like sort of zoom out the lens and really sort of like get it and to understand that. But I don't know if you're familiar with Katie Milkman's work, but she's a behavioral change PhD. And she talked about how they had a study where they gave one group, they said, you're going to work out 7 days a week. This is the time you're going to work out. Go do it. The other group got the same assignment, but they got 2 like get out of jail cards. So like life happens but they got 2 passes. So I'm sure you can guess which group was more consistent with following through on things.
The flexible group that had 2 get out of jail cards.
Yeah. And then, it's also, I mean, there's so many parts of it, but it's like that self kindness or empathy to yourself. So like they got the get out of jail card. So now all of a sudden they weren't beating themselves up because they didn't make it there one day. They just got back to it.
Yes. I love that. I don't know how familiar you are with Kristen Neff's work on self-compassion, but she wrote a new book called Fierce Self-Compassion. Yeah. And it's something I'm going to be integrating into my programs because it's literally the marriage of being gentle with yourself, but staying true to your goals. And that's like the main piece, I think, of self-compassion work. Like when you're saying being kind to yourself and flexible and gentle, that's like the major, rebuttal to self-compassion work is, oh, well, then I'm just going to be lazy. I'm not going to get anything done. I'm just going to stay complacent. And the idea behind fierce self-compassion is that you love on yourself and you're kind and you stay true to what you want out of your life. Like you don't let yourself off the hook about the things that actually matter to you because that's what's actually going to make your life better.
Yes, and I have a prime example of this. So Sunday, we ended up spending the afternoon with some family. And so, like, usually, like, I'll, like, do a little bit of meal prep or whatever. And we ended up going to the park and then hanging out with them, like, all evening. And so I didn't have time. And so last night, I was honestly tired. Like, this early darkness thing gets me.
Yes.
But I was like, you know what? I had this soup on the menu and my intentions were to make it on Sunday, but it just didn't happen.
Was it my soup?
No, but I made your soup last week for our soup night with our neighbors and it was demolished.
Yes.
And then they needed it. They needed the recipe the next day because it was all gone and everyone wanted it. But, so last night I'm tired. I didn't really want to do it. So this is an example of that fear of self-compassion. And I was like, but will I be like so thankful that I did this tomorrow so I have some lunches for the week, yada, yada, yada. And then at the same time, I was like, what is another practice that I can do to really nurture and take care of myself tonight? So I made the soup, and the soup I made does not take, it was like 20, 30 minutes. Did the soup, and I was like, okay, kids, upstairs to the bath and bed. And I went to bed too, because I just needed a good night's sleep.
Yes. Those are my favorite nights, the nights that I go to sleep like around the same time as my kids. Actually, it's funny, last night I was downstairs and I was talking to my husband, and I said, okay, I'm going to go up to say goodnight to the kids, and then I'm going to come down. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm going to come downstairs. And he's like, why? What's going on? And I'm like, oh, I don't feel like ready for bed yet. And so I want to come down and let's talk about, Christmas shopping and like getting things on. He's like, okay, great. Wow. He's like, I got to like get ready for this. Wendy's coming downstairs. So funny. And I say goodnight to the girls.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm done saying goodnight to the girls, I was like,
no.
And I got in bed, and I like get in bed with my book, and my husband comes in, he's like, so you're coming downstairs? And I was like, no, things changed over the last 10 minutes. And that's just like also the ability to just let yourself pivot and change your mind, guys. Like, this is one of those things that I think either is going to make life torture or quite enjoyable and actually funny. Is if you give yourself permission to change your damn mind. Like, if you thought you were all set for something and then you realize whatever's shifted and you're like, I'm not in the mood, or that's not what I need right now, change your mind and get in bed. Like, when in doubt, get in bed early, go to sleep, protect your sleep, wake up and start a new day, and then see how you feel tomorrow. Don't be so rigid that you're like, it's all or nothing and now I have to suffer through something I previously committed to.
Yes. And also, I don't know if you have a mattress heater, but my mom turned me on to this situation, and oh my God, it's so cozy. I just want to be cozy for the entire fall.
I love this. I'm hosting, I'm going to host this winter a hygge workshop.
Oh, I love it.
And so hygge, for those of you who don't know, is like the practice of all things cozy. So it's like, how do I seize the winter and feel and savor the winter and lean into the winter and enjoy it versus like struggle against it every day. And so I always know my hygge people by those around me who are like, I just want to be cozy. I just want to be cozy. And I'm like, oh, you're my hygge people.
It involves leggings and warm socks pulled over the leggings in the winter. It involves getting some like light therapy in, getting outside, bundling up even if it's cold, just to like get senses engaged.
Making lots of soups like you do.
Warm soup is the best. Hot bread.
Yes, lighting the right candles, setting the right, like, just like the lighting is important. It's like how you appreciate. Is it warm light, dim light? Like, we could talk about that for a while.
My husband sometimes tries to change the lights, and he'll put like, I don't know, warm light with whatever the other, and I'm like, those don't match, and my eyes can see that.
That's not going to work. I'm sorry. Well, we'll have to do a hygge workshop this winter, because it definitely makes such a difference to change your mindset around the season. And there's, a lot of people have seasonal affective disorder, and light therapy is really helpful with that, and getting outside is hugely impactful for that. So for those of you listening who struggle with seasonal changes in your mood, if you can get outside like first thing in the morning, like the first light, and I know it's darker later, so it's a little trickier, but having the first light on your eyes helps reset your circadian rhythm. It helps you really allow yourself to just take in nature, be mindful, get that fresh air, get just a natural boost in energy. So it can help you set up for the day feeling like way better. And it could be 5 or 10 minutes outside. It does not have to be a ton of time. Actually, research is even showing if you get even less than 5 minutes of light on your, like 5 minutes of light in your eyes in the morning is enough, like a couple of minutes. So it doesn't have to be a huge commitment. It definitely is going to impact your day. How are you guys doing, Molly, with, like festive vibes at home? I'm curious about those who are feeling the festive vibes this year and those of us who are like not feeling the festive vibes this year. Where are you guys at the family?
Yeah. So I also want to add to the Higgy, or however you say, I can't remember. Hooga. I feel like Hulk or something. I want to add a Hooga that lately I've been putting on a Spotify like Christmas yoga playlist. Yeah. Life changing.
Wow.
So calming and grounded. I love it. How are we doing with the holiday season? So we are doing well. I'm usually not this organized, but things have changed in my life over the past year or two and starting my own business and doing those things. And so we almost made like a date night of planning for like gifts and who's going to get what. And honestly, like what has been helpful for us is like we put a budget up there and we're just trying to stick to it. So we sort of had this date night of online shopping and plugging in like who was getting what. But I honestly had most of it done by December 1st. And so what that allowed though is space for us to really enjoy December 1st through December 31st. So like I'm not worried about like what I'm going to get X, Y, and Z person, you know?
Yes.
Last night we were all sort of like tired and bound up in the house, and we just packed the kids up and got hot cocoa and went and looked at lights.
Love it.
I love the space that this has created to enjoy rather than to feel consumed by.
I love that. That's so fantastic, Molly, because I was thinking, you know, I usually do my shopping like now, like in December, and the main reason has been because I feel like I want to do Thanksgiving and be present for Thanksgiving. And then I have a nice natural shift that it's like, I sometimes get rigid. Like I may be that person that usually doesn't put on Christmas music until the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This year was different because I felt like I needed it earlier, but I like to have like, a holiday and then you transition to the next holiday.
Yeah.
But it's funny you say that because I'm sitting here listening to you thinking, wow, it sounds like it really did allow you to free up the space to enjoy. Because right now I'm the one sitting here thinking, I haven't started shopping for the girls and I'm pretty much done with my husband. He's like pretty easy. But the girls, and I want to coordinate with my husband, and how do we coordinate? Life is so busy. So it's really about setting that time away. Like you said, a date night's such a fun idea.
Like the date night, it was probably one of our because right now we are in that busy season, 3 small children. So like we can't go out, after they go to bed, like we're just like hanging out. And so it just kind of like popped into my head one night, like an idea, like why don't we put pen to paper, like explore what it is we really want for, like, it was so fun to like create the space to even like dream about it instead of just like going to the stores and like rushing through and be like trying to find whatever for whichever kid.
Yeah, well, set the stage. So tell me about this date night. Are you guys sitting at the kitchen counter? Are you sitting by the fire?
It was very, so we sort of like plan to hang out on certain nights because my husband needs like alone time. And this was like one of our sort of date nights. And so we, it just like popped into my head, and literally like I pulled out my laptop. We're just kind of snuggled up in bed. We're just like brainstorming what kid is into what thing right now.
Yes.
And same with like our parents, our siblings, like everyone that we buy for. And honestly, to make space for it like that, like was just so much easier. I don't know why. It was so much easier to do the Christmas shop. And now, so this is the other fun part, Wendy. This is my favorite part, in fact. So we set a budget for the Christmas holiday season, right? So I'm plugging in how much everything costs, trying to keep things balanced, blah, blah, blah. But what we're going to do, our anniversary is actually December 16th. So we have a lot of stuff in the holiday season.
Yeah.
But on December 16th, we're both taking the day off. And I like budgeted to have, I don't know, $500 left for Christmas. And we are going to go take $500 out in cash. And we're just going to go like window shop and like spend the rest of it. And so it's just so fun though, because it's almost like a little game. Like, what are we going to get?
Yes.
And it still makes room. Cause like I ordered a bunch of our stuff online this year. But it makes space for like the actual, like, Christmas shopping experience, which I think sounds so fun.
Oh my gosh. And you have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like, think about that, like setting the budget, which is such a wise idea. Many of us do that. Some of us even do, I don't know if you guys do this as a family, but set aside X number of dollars every week to be automatically transferred to your account. You do that?
So we don't do that, but we use a lot of our like credit card cash back, and then we supplement it. But we earmark that at the beginning of the year for the budget.
That's awesome. It's so great to have that because you have the beauty of the organization and the planning and the spontaneity.
Yes.
Like a lot of people think the budgeting around the holidays are going to feel so restricted. It's going to feel sad and gloomy. And really, when you do it and you're like trying to balance it out, look what you had left over that you guys get to take out in cash and just like make it rain that day.
Yeah, it's so fun, right? Like we can like and I just imagine like thinking about like what would bring like joy to this person, and you know, it's just going to be so fun. And it's our anniversary. So we're getting like a couples massage, and then we're going to go to a nice dinner. My parents are taking our kids for the night. I'm just like, it's so nice because in the midst of this super, what can feel like just such a busy season, it's like a little space that we created to take a breath. And taking the breaths, I think, are so important right now.
Yes. I love it. I love these ideas, and I'm sure those listening love them too. Like just the idea of people love the detail. You know, when people say like, "Oh, just practice self-care," or "Oh, just, say no to things," or "Oh, just take some time to rest." They're like, "Okay, great. And now what? Like what does it look like?"
How do I do that? Yes.
How do I do that? What does that mean? And so for you to even just map out, oh, well, it looks like this for our family. We're taking this day, we're protecting in this way, we're going to an ATM, we're getting cash out, we're doing this. Parents are included in the orchestration of this day. And we're celebrating. Like, it's just so wonderful to hear that there's something to look forward to. For those of you who follow me, I talk so much about positive psychology. And one of the pieces of research that we know is to feel truly happy in our lives, we need to have things to look forward to. Yeah. If we have things we're looking forward to, it doesn't mean that we should look forward to the things on the calendar. That's not what this is. It has to be things that you personally look forward to. So if you're someone who isn't into shopping, then don't put that on the calendar. But if you're someone who loves to stay home and bake a fresh batch of cookies, put that on the calendar. If you're somebody that loves to take a walk down by the water, plan a day. You're taking a little day trip down to the water and you're going to walk and bundle up and just be with yourself. Plan things on the calendar to look forward to that are about you, that are from your heart, not about what the kids want, not about what your partner wants, not about what your employer or your coworkers would like or what friends want. There's so much of the season that's about everyone else but you. Let there be something on the calendar at least once a week, no matter how small it is, that's just for you.
Yes, I love that. I saw the other day, and this has become part of my practice over the past couple of months, but I saw there was a therapist who every Sunday she schedules something that is meaningful, something that is maybe not comfortable, but will be worth it. And there was one, but the point is you are intentional about cultivating the experience that you want to have.
That's it. I mean, honestly, just that line literally summarizes living your life by design. It's choose free an experience that gives you the best chance to feel the way you want to feel. So if you have those Sunday blues because you're anticipating Monday, then create something on Sunday that gives you the best chance of feeling the way you want to feel on Sunday. If you're going through the motions this winter and this Christmas, this holiday season, and you're just not feeling lit up by it or you're feeling overwhelmed by it, choose something on purpose that gives you the best chance to elicit the emotion you want to experience this holiday season. So our family isn't feeling terribly festive. We have a lot going on. And I've been teaching this Happy Actually Holidays workshop, which allows us to set boundaries and say no to things and protect our energy, all really helpful. But it doesn't mean that on its own is going to elicit festive mood, festive energy. And for our family in particular, it's really about sitting down and saying, well, what creates a festive mood for us? What matters to us? Is it the tree? Is it seeing the lights? Is it hot cocoa? Is it decorating? Is it singing carols? What is it that makes it for us? And you have to ask yourself that question. So if you're going through the motions this holiday season and you're just feeling I'm just not feeling it this year, I'm just not feeling happy, I'm not feeling lit up, I don't care, I just want it over, you can, of course, just survive it if that's what you need to do. But I'd like to offer an alternative.
Yeah.
And that alternative is just to create like a couple tiny pockets of like mini festive joys that you can have to look forward to, because it doesn't have to just be something you survive. You can, of course,
Yeah.
but you don't have to feel that way every day over the next month and a half.
And yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because so like, I'm over here and like, we're excited about the holidays and all these things, but like, I don't want to minimize that, like, the holidays can be so hard for some people. And like, if you've lost a loved one, if you're going through grief, if you're going through something, like seeing everyone like, oh, so happy, like, can be so hard, because you're like, I'm the only one that this is happening to. And so I also just want to shine a light on that. And it's exactly what you're talking about, like finding those nurturing practices to make you feel grounded, to make you like come back to yourself. But like, it's not always easy. Like the holiday season is not always like sunshine and roses for everyone.
Yeah, it's really not.
There's been a lot of loss.
So much loss. There's been so much loss. I mean, in every aspect of our lives, there's been so much change and loss, and life has been turned upside down. I can speak from my own personal experience. I have to say, beyond, the surface stuff, like cookies and shopping and packages and presents and caroling and all that stuff, what's had the most meaning for me in my life around the holidays is volunteer work. And I've missed it in recent years, because with the girls, like, it's just like when you have kiddos, like they take over so much of life. But this year we adopted a girl for Christmas, and just even going through the motions of like selecting things and thinking about somebody else outside of who your immediate loves are, thinking about somebody who needs attention, love, service, hope, is so much more meaningful. Like, it just takes you out of the moment of what's going on in my life, and it just gives you perspective to think about the bigger picture. And I'm thinking about how to also get the girls involved in some type of volunteer work of just, either like soup kitchen style, or, visiting folks in like nursing homes, or just something that just is not about us. It's not about the gifts you get. It's not about, the perfect cookie. Although I do tend to get competitive around cookie season, it is, there is an opportunity to focus on something that really matters, which is those who just don't have and who need and could appreciate so much of just like small gestures of love and human connection. So I just wanted to put that out there as a reminder to myself to figure out where I could, as a family, get more involved as a family in an act of service for other people. But also for those of us who are kind of stuck in our heads this holiday season, getting out of your heads and getting into volunteer work or being of service to other people will absolutely 100% shift your perspective. And when we shift our perspective, which is our thought process, we shift our emotional experience, we shift our mood. So it's someplace you have a lot of power this holiday season to make change in your own life and in the lives of others. So it's just an idea to throw out there too.
I love this. I'm glad you actually mentioned that. So my husband and I were talking about that last night, and I was like, I want something where the kids feel involved. And so we started brainstorming, and that's that fun space of like, you're creating, brainstorming what you could possibly do. And so some of our ideas that we came up with, because we were like, well, we want to enlist the kids, like we could adopt a family, or we were thinking about like adding to a diaper drive. I love the idea of like going out to like a restaurant and just like outrageously like tipping whoever is like serving you that night. But I love like thinking outside of ourselves during this. I think you were just so spot on, is like that changes the meaning. The other thing that I heard the other day that I just thought was so good was, and this is part of my daily practice, but it's to tell someone, whether it's a letter, whether it's you and me face to face, but it's like telling someone the impact that they've made on you. Because that to me is worth more than anything in the entire, like it is just so like nourishing to put out your gratitude for someone who has impacted your life, for someone who's helped you. And then it's like a gift to them because they helped you. I really like that idea. My mom one year at Thanksgiving we went around and we like said things that we were like really appreciative about everyone in the room. And like, it is a very like, sounds kind of like, maybe like too like touchy feely, but like, I think I cried during like the whole thing because it's just so touching. And that that's the stuff that I want to experience and feel, you know?
Yeah. And it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything. So it's not like you have to go into debt to serve others. It's literally something that's just a few seconds of your time. And you've incorporated me into this practice. And I know that you've shared with me the impact that my work has had on you. And it's like so meaningful to get messages like that. You know, no one has to tell you anything. But the fact that you're going out of your way to tell people who have had an impact on you is going to have a positive ripple effect in their life. And it's going to plant that seed too for them of like, oh, that was like so special that she did that. I wonder who I could pay, you know, who I could share this message with, or who I could thank today or acknowledge today. So absolutely, you know, if you're feeling super overwhelmed or busy this holiday season, if money's tight, just remember you always have the power of just your words. Yeah, sharing it in written form, in verbal form, in audio message form. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. For a while I was kind of caught up in the like, oh, list 3 things that I'm grateful for, or whatever. And that like I know that that's a practice, but I don't know, I just had this idea one day that I was going to start writing like these handwritten like cards of like, this is how you made a difference. Even like a couple weeks ago I had a provider who got a patient in for me like on really short notice, and I am just so grateful for those people out there. But this practice for me is like, this is what makes my heart feel expansive. This is what makes me feel open to the whole wide world, you know?
Completely. I love it. Thank you for spending this time with me this morning. This was such a conversation around, you know, not just happiness, but I think just tying it into the holidays, which is a really chaotic time for some, a really hard, sad time for some, a lonely time for some, a joyous time for some. Like I'm really grateful that you took the time to be here and to just share candidly, like how you're doing it, how you guys are doing, and just these ideas that we have that can make a difference in someone else's life. Like the differences we make in other people's lives come back to serve us too. And it's a really beautiful spiral to create in the world and a beautiful ripple effect. So maybe we can all get out there today and just do something small to lift the spirits of others, and then we'll be able to lift the spirits of yeah. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun. I always feel like I could talk to you for hours. So
I absolutely could. Well, we'll get back on here and we'll talk about hygge soon.
I can't wait.
Have a wonderful day.
All right, Wendy, you too.
Bye.
Bye, love.